much. It's not even real news.
Damn it, Josephine, I already done told you it's a combination of relevant news and topics of the day in a package that I find entertaining and palatable to assimilate. At reasonable price, and it helps me unwind.
So this is you relaxed, huh?
Well, I was until you got on my back, Josephine. Now, if you shut that ever-expanding cosmos of a hole you call a mouth, I could get back to it.
No, it's fake news.
Nope. Fake news is every time you tell folks you got a f***ing thyroid problem. Now, I know you're only trying to make me mad, Josephine. It ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work!
I've throughout my life been exclusively attracted.
Fake news.
Nope.
I don't know that you can find a strong woman.
No, it's fake.
Damn it, Josephine! Why you gotta do that? Why you gotta push me? You know it sets me off. Does this make you feel good about yourself? Does it make you feel good about yourself to push my buttons?
Relax, I was just joking.
I see it exclusive. I don't know how you can be a
I already done told you, Josephine, it's not funny.
I realize
These guys are legit.
All right.
you also think of them as weak and wimpy because
You want to go to the Golden Corral?
I wouldn't go to Golden Corral if you were the last woman on earth and my life depended on it.
brothers.
Not after that last time you went, you're lucky I don't have a f***ing wanted poster of you up on that wall. So you're telling me for just $99 annually or $9.99 a month, Rumble Premium gives me enough ad-free exclusive content from Lighter with Kreider, Nick DiPaolo, Mr. Guns and Gear, Donald Trump Jr., and more to drown out Josephine's nagging bitch voice for good? It's a godforsaken investment. Oh, I got some nice, what'd you call it? Turbulence? Is that what you call it in there?
What?
No, it's a whirlwind.
Is a plane, but what's it called when it's in a like a whirlpool?
It's a whirlpool. That's it.
No.
Centrifugal force.
No, you said it. Whirlpool. You got it.
Sure.
I said whirlwind. I hope nobody heard it.
Well, careful.
Well, now
we
we
can't.
did.
Now
You
we
did.
can't.
Yeah.
It's product placement for Whirlpool. Don't get started on your Maytag rant now.
I'm a Kenmore man.
I bet. Oh.
JD Vance, Vance Refrigeration.
I think.
Did you just say you were poor on air, Josh?
What?
You said
Yeah.
All right, guys. Come on. We're better than
Great
this.
start, everybody.
We have a lot to get to today. The first trans member of Congress, Sarah McBride. We're going to talk about this person, and this person is the reason for the proposed new rule on Capitol Hill that biological men cannot use women's rooms. Of course, if you believe this, you'll be accused of waging a culture war. Also, a lot of people aren't talking about this. They're talking about Attorney General. They're talking about Secretary of Defense. Donald Trump's FCC director, Brendan Carr. We're going to be talking about him. You really do need to know a little bit more about him, because I guarantee you that there's going to be a war waged against this guy when they figure out, when the left, when I say they, I mean the left, figures out what this guy is all about. And it directly affects not only this program, but what you can do online, I would argue, in a positive way. So let me ask you, what do you think is the most important thing that can be done with the FCC under a Trump administration? Obviously, we've talked about
easy.
230. Yeah. And look, we're also going to be talking about how Sharia law has come to, the United States, but certainly Washington State.
Yep.
And not all cultures are created equal. Another question for you. Which culture is created the least equal?
That's a question that gets you fired.
Yes,
I
it
think.
does.
Yeah. Or banned.
We're just talking about Colton Wade. Like, everyone knows a Colton Wade, a redneck who thinks in everything, but they're right on some things.
Right.
And then they're like, well, when I was a boy, everyone knew that boys is boys and girls is girls. Like, yeah, okay. And everyone knows that Jews control the moon.
We're like, oh.
That's unconfirmed.
Yeah, right. Read it.
And then they're right about some like fringe things. You're like, wow, that makes you seem really intelligent. And then they mess up the moon.
Yes, exactly. Like, well, Hillary Clinton apologized when she was Secretary of State because we infected a bunch of South Americans with gonorrhea and knowingly allowed it to spread so we could study how we could deal with these diseases. You're like, oh, wow, that actually did
turns out
happen.
to be true.
And I don't know if you know how many vowels are in your banker's last name.
Why does it go back to the Jews? The country boys get the Jews wrong every time.
Right. You sound like a kind of guy who probably would date one of them colored folk. I've heard enough out of you.
There's a ton of them in the comments right now.
And you know, let me
He's just like me.
Let's see. Right now, there's someone watching. They're like, "You thought it! And I thought it! You said it!" But no, it's not. It's just
These boys legit.
Too many people agree with you.
I knew you was just like me.
This inflation's crazy. Got about $10 extra on a log of Copenhagen.
None of that Zen shit. It's a mind control chemical agent from the Jews. So if at some point today, if you haven't seen this yet, you're watching on YouTube, which you should not. You should be watching on Rumble. You may see this. Head on over to Rumble. It's a weekday show, 10 a.m. Eastern, live. We do this without a net. And even Fridays if you are a member of Rumble Premium.
Yeah.
Since we've wasted some time, we have to cycle through this quickly. Gerald Captain Morgan, number 2 CEO. I hope you are well. When you hear this, you know him, you love him. Sunday, December 1st at Avenue Tattoo Studio in Lawton, Oklahoma. Josh Firestine, how are you?
Good.
Great. Maybe the best thing to come out of the Trump election is the real-time meltdown that we have seen of The View, which some people, some people still watch it. And Sonny Hostin is a person. And she started the show yesterday by throwing. Remember we talked about Mika and Joe?
Yeah.
How they met with Donald Trump and how basically, of course, they have seen their ratings plummet and they needed to kiss his ass. There's a lot of fake news out there, by the way, surrounding this, where some people have been circulating a fake Truth Social post from Donald Trump. He didn't write that. So I just want to be clear about that on the outset. But it doesn't change the fact that Sonny Hostin was furious that Joe Scarborough and Mika even considered providing two sides of the story.
Look, the bottom line is that America needs a free press that is willing to speak truth to power right now. And I don't think you need to sit down for 90 minutes at Mar-a-Lago and kiss his ring to be able to speak truth and to be able to cover a story. So maybe they're not journalists in the true sense. Maybe they're saying that they're opinion journalists.
Just like McDonald's.
We have to remember that Trump is the guy who ushered in the era of fake news. He is the guy who ushered in alternative facts. He is the guy who attacked 3 black female journalists. He's the guy that revoked Jim Acosta's press credentials for asking him a question.
So he's the guy who ushered in the era of fake news. I just want to make sure they understand that correctly. When you go all the way back, and we know that Brian Williams was lying, I mean, gosh, for how long until he was caught? Walter Cronkite said that you couldn't be a journalist, in his opinion, and not be a liberal. Do we want to look at the donations throughout history that come from ABC, NBC, CBS? You talk about not sitting down and kissing the ring of Donald Trump. Well, let me ask you this. Whose ring do you kiss? Hey, how does this occur in nature where you have an entire panel of cackling, walking hot flashes who share the opinion, aside from the kind of moderate Republican who also, by the way, just happens to share your opinion? Whose ring are you kissing? Do you employ everyone there? Are you signing the fronts of checks? Or are you signing the backs of checks? If you are signing the back of a check from a giant corporation, guess what? You are kissing the ring somehow. And certainly, it couldn't be more true than when you're dealing with legacy media. I just love how they do this. Like, well, sitting down. Okay. All you did was gang up and bully Donald Trump through every weapon you had available.
Yeah. And by the way, Donald Trump didn't invent fake news. He called it out.
Yes.
Right? And people, do you remember people like
Seth
Fox
Meyers
Live?
used the term fake news.
Yes.
People didn't realize it was something that started from the left.
The left started.
And Donald Trump.
Yeah, they did Fox Lies too during the Obama administration.
Right.
Remember, people would say, "Oh, Fox Lies, Fox Lies." They would just say that Fox is making up news, and Donald Trump was like, "No, actually, this is fake. You're fake news because of this specific thing." Right. We saw it in this election. How can you not? What kind of a hole do you live in the ground where you don't understand that happened?
Well, she lives in the same hole in the ground where she gets to blame the victory of Donald Trump. Rather than learn from this and understand that maybe they are very out of touch in New York City, where everyone there is privileged. And it's not just privilege. I don't just mean that you're largely white. I don't just mean that you all are raised in Manhattan or, maybe two privileged, wealthy parents. I mean, people live a life that is so disconnected. You know what New York City is? It's the biggest city filled with rednecks in the country. You have people who grow up in New York City, and I mean this, they have no exposure to the rest of this country. They don't know how you live. You have a lot of people in New York City who have never driven a car, who think the world operates with public transport, default Democrat candidates, that everyone should crime, major city pollution. They think that that exists across the country. They don't know what it's like to live in, I don't know, Texas, in suburban Michigan, to be able to walk out your house to your driveway, get in a car, and drive anywhere you want at your convenience. People say that New York City is so convenient. What they mean is they get to go out and party. Outside of that, if you have a family, it is decidedly inconvenient to live in New York. It's not the greatest city in the world. I think that it is an embarrassment for this nation, at least as it stands today. So let's go on with this very privileged ivory tower view as she blames white, uneducated people for Trump.
You know, I know that as a country, it's very difficult for people to believe that racism and misogyny, they're just alive and well. My lived experience tells me that it does still exist.
Pause. Maybe it's not because people are racist or misogynist. Maybe, just maybe, if we're going, this is all predicated on your behavior on air being who you are. Could be because you're a raging bitch.
I wonder how much of discrimination led to her being able to afford her Carmen Sandiego jacket.
Yes. I don't know how much racism one experiences to walk into the expensive designer store and say, "Give me the Liberace," but
with your private security,
you may not think that it exists. Well, hold on a second. This is why we did the change. Give me an example of systemic racism in this country, aside from affirmative action against white males,
people, and Asians,
and
Well, wait. Oh, so now we go to your lived experience. Oh, we're back in that realm of your truth. Hold on, let me guess. If I call you out, you're going to say that we're waging a false culture war, but we'll get to that. Let's continue.
Experience doesn't tell you that it exists. There's a clear racial divide in who voted for Trump as opposed to who voted for
Hold on, pause.
Kamala
It's not
Harris.
actually that clear, because if you look at Hispanic Latino, it's 52-46, and Hispanic males voted for Donald Trump. So even in her own argument, it's not particularly clear. Like, hey, how do you explain that? What about their lived experience?
Oh,
it's just you. Again, see my previous point. Let's continue.
It's very clear. It's not only clear by race, but it's also clear by education. And so the notion somehow that is not true. This is by education. Those who attended college voted for her at a higher degree than those that didn't.
But I think you're missing his point.
Let me just finish. And so I've said that before,
Shut up,
and there was
silly
so much
woman.
backlash because I think it's an uncomfortable, inconvenient truth about this country.
And this is what the left loves to do. They'll say that they hate labels while they hide behind labels. Now, I don't have a problem with labels. I don't have a problem with ism. For example, I'm a conservative. I subscribe to conservatism. That's my worldview. Okay? I'm very honest about it. They're communists. So, they then hide behind the labels that really hold no water, like, oh, educated. Can we disabuse people of this notion that a college degree means you're educated, means you're informed in 2024? Why use that metric and not use the metric? Because the reason that metric was used once upon a time was getting a college education when you were actually going and getting a generalized education with then extended education in your specialized field that you could make a better income, right? That's not the case today. The metrics that would matter would be if we're looking for people to live fruitful lives, to be contributing members of society. Let's take people who make an income, I don't know, of let's say 80 or 90,000 more per year. Let's take people who, have a decent savings, who don't have debt, who've maybe owned their house outright, who have successful families, who are active members of the community. Let's take other metrics. The idea that just a college degree means you are somehow more educated. I have never met more idiots, more functionally retarded people in my life than the college educated. And I mean this. I say this without a hint of hyperbole. In the 21st century, someone can have a college degree and they could have no savings, debt from said college degree because it's gender studies, or for example, media studies, which by the way, I studied in college. I was that idiot. I studied media.
You got out.
I was a moron, right? Didn't make me any more educated. I left college dumber than when I went in.
I have a year and a half of credits just for being in the Army, just for existing in the Army.
There you go.
There you go.
I didn't do. That doesn't make me any smarter. I wore a rucksack. Congratulations.
You mark that down as some college.
Educated.
Yeah, exactly. But there's two things here that she's saying. One, just say what you mean to say. Stupid people voted for Donald Trump and smart people voted for Kamala Harris.
That's what she's saying.
She's trying to say to the American people, but she's just trying to, like, I guess, make it sound a little bit more palatable. And two, what that really shows is the longer you stay in, the more indoctrinated you become.
Yeah.
That's another aspect of this. It's not making the point that I think she's trying to make with this. It's a stupid metric.
It makes
on top
the
of
point,
all of that.
Yes, it makes the point if you believe, college degree means that this person is clearly more informed. No one wants to run those numbers. No one wants to conduct those studies and see just how uninformed many of our college educated in this country truly are. I would actually wager, I would bet my bottom dollar that people who have gone to trade school and started moderately, I'm using a very conservative approach here, moderately successful businesses would be significantly more educated, informed than those attending higher education right now. And I bet you would actually probably have higher IQs right now, at this point in time in history, because it's a smarter path. It's a better path if you want to live a better life. And by the way, we're going to be talking about this and more. We've talked about Rumble Premium here in the past. Mug Club is now Rumble Premium. Rumble Premium is Mug Club. You get to keep watching today if you just click that button. $99 annually, $9.99 a month. And you get us, Mr. Guns and Gear, the Friday show, 100% more show. You get Nick DiPaolo, Donald Trump Jr., everything else that's going to Rumble Premium. 17% market share on election night. Let's make that 50%. It is the fight back. Go create your own YouTube. Well, it exists. No more tip jars. You can join one place.
And it makes your life better.
It makes your
better life.
Significantly
Rumble
better.
Premium.
Here's another question.
Oh.
Have you heard of this? Well, first, let me ask you, are you Solopoly? I know what you're thinking. That's an oxymoron.
It sounds like a nickname for a lonely guy in the mob.
Yes. That's all Solopoly. Yeah.
Hey, never got a girl around him. Look at him. He stinks. He smells. He eats cake all day.
That's right. Polly, if you don't get your act together, you always got to be solo. But actually, it means someone who's polyamorous with themselves.
Oh, boy.
And so whenever the left accuses you of waging a fake culture war, just remember that this was put out and amplified on TikTok. Unironically, this is the newest gender, sexual preference, I don't know, insert whatever term here. Let's watch this freak show.
What do people mean when they say they're solo poly? Here are some quick facts that you might not know about. Solo poly or solo polyamory is a subset of polyamory where a person prioritizes individual autonomy over any other sort of relationship. If someone that's solo poly might be interested in having multiple emotional relationships, but they don't want to have any obligation to preference any of those relationships over their relationship with themselves. It's important to know that they can still want deep, emotional, ongoing commitment with other people. But whether they're single or in emotional connection with several people, they might not necessarily want to identify as being in a committed relationship with other people.
So narcissist. just to be clear.
I didn't know there was a group for this.
I don't want to prioritize other people's needs, wants, basic human conditions above my me time.
Unless it's convenient.
I didn't know narcissist could be a sexual orientation, but that's so freeing.
We've enabled it while accusing traditional masculine behavior of narcissism.
Yes, I thought this was just like being a gigolo.
Do you know this? It's if you work too much, you're a narcissist. If you take pride in your work, or if you're self-critical, that's reverse narcissism. If you're a dancing sprite wearing sequins, demanding everyone look at you, well, by God, that's just a healthy self-esteem. So here's the guide to being solo poly, featuring This Is Real, the mascot for the solo poly community. It is a black Muslim peg-legged woman.
What?
Oh, why would you do that? So a Somali.
Yes. I am your solo poly now.
Hold on. This
is real. Let me read the description.
We're getting trolled.
Solo poly people tend to see themselves as their own primary. They usually have multiple separate or intertwined polyamorous relationships. They don't depend on the relationship escalator to express their commitment. This is what they do, right? Everything normal is bad and everything freaky, bizarre, and unhealthy is good. So when they say relationship escalator, here's what they mean. They mean a relationship where you go through phases and often experience personal growth. Escalator. We don't rely on that. We remain stagnant and pricks for life.
I'm just as good as I ever was.
My mother's basement is nice.
And I know you'll think this is silly, but again, does anyone want to use the slippery slope argument anymore? Remember we were talking about same-sex marriage? You can go back to me then in 2009, 2010. I don't think the way you're going to let this ends up. It's a slippery slope.
Yeah, we already
This
slipped.
They're never coming for your kids. Now it's minor-attracted persons. No. The transgender discussion. No. We're just talking about adults. No one's talking about children. No. No one's talking about men in women's sports. Today's freak show that we laugh at is what will be normalized next. And when you say, no, that's a bridge too far, they will accuse you of waging a fake culture war. So let me break this down, make sure I understand this. Solopoly. I get to have a girlfriend, right? And all the benefits therein.
Right.
And spend Thanksgiving alone without their family? Yes. It's a good sell. I'm not going to lie to you. Like that makes
one turkey sandwich and some cranberry sauce.
Like no. I can't listen to your needs or wants. I'm solo poly. I'm going into the solo portion. You're poly. I'm solo right now.
Gosh.
So you prioritize yourself, meaning you don't want to listen to crap that you don't care about. Then you don't want a relationship with the opposite sex. That's half of what every relationship is pretending you give a crap about things you don't give a crap about. You don't have to give a crap about what she gives a crap about. You just have to give a crap about her. And same thing for you. You think she wants to hear about your fantasy football league for the third time? No, just like you don't want to hear about her knitting club, but you love each other, so you listen and you pretend like it matters.
What if I get drunk and practice solo poly on myself? And then later I'm like regretting the decision and I go, oh no, wait, I slept with myself and I didn't want to sleep with myself. And now I've raped myself. Oh no, I gotta report myself.
Exactly.
Me too.
That being said, I deserved it. I was asking for it.
You should have seen what I was wearing when I got drunk.
Which brings us to, you think this is bad. People don't realize this because now when you combine these new categories, these new gender preferences, along with the mental health crisis in this country, a new group has emerged, the solo poly schizophrenic gender.
All right, tell me about your sex life.
Oh, dude, it rips. I'm crushing it, Doc.
And how do you think your partner feels?
Oh, I love it, I do declare. And I love you too if you fancy yourself a Southern Belle.
Who are you talking to?
Southern Belle. You look like the Liberty Bell.
Me?
He was talking to me, Mr. Doctor. Oh, how I love me a medical man.
Let's not focus on me. Let's keep talking about you.
Oh, me? You talking to me? Because, well, it's been an adjustment, but, we all got to make our sacrifices here and there, don't you know?
Who is we? Are there any others?
No me digas a puedo amar, pendejo.
Oh, I wasn't trying.
He like a me for my limp noodle.
Well, that's a little outside my purview.
All right, well, are we about done here? Because I got a lunch date.
With who?
Who's the guy who's on first?
Okay, but what is the...
No.
guy?
What's on second?
Oh, all right. I get it. And I don't know who's on third base?
Oh, honey, I think I do know who's getting to third base tonight.
Why?
No. Why's the guy that's in left field?
And you know what? It makes just as much sense. So here's the thing. When you simply absolve people of the responsibilities of being an adult, then you end up with an entire generation of people who quit and stop viewing news after an election that they don't like. That's why the left can't deal with adversity. The left can't deal with adversity because the solo poly community never had a dad say, "What?" And so when you just say, "Yeah, all of this is acceptable, all perverse ambitions are acceptable," you don't deal with the real problem. There's a real problem, by the way, with Gen Z in relationships.
Yeah.
And we're not dealing with it. So 56% of Gen Z blame fear of rejection for not pursuing a relationship. 57% of Gen Z fear it would be a turnoff to actually confess their feelings. 77% of Gen Z admit to ghosting someone, meaning it's all about themselves. They're not treating people as human beings. Ghosting someone, and I'm sure that everyone has maybe done something like that to some degree, but not treating people like a meat factory like we do today. And you're going to end up with a generation of people who don't get married, who don't have meaningful relationships because they're pursuing some new label in order to gain popularity with people they'll never meet on a subject that no one cares about and ultimately a life that doesn't matter. We're not dealing with the real problem, but you do have to push back, even though they'll accuse you of waging a fake culture war. That's where we are. That's where we are. That's why the solo poly thing is just the objectum sexual thing was a big deal where someone married the Eiffel Tower.
Yes, I remember that.
There weren't enough wet wipes in the world.
I hope this swings back the other way with the generation getting more conservative, because it has to. This doesn't lead anywhere good.
No.
Right? If men, and we've talked about this before, men not wanting to enter into relationships, not wanting to get married until later in life or even at all. Like, this is horrible for culture. Like,
yes,
this kind of stuff has to be made fun of by both sides.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let me give you a really simple metric, okay? Follow this on a graph. Maybe someone could put this on a graph. The relational dysfunction that we see with this generation correlates with the record number of erectile dysfunction that we see in young males. That shouldn't happen. When I was that age, my parents had to raise the furniture like a Great Dane's tail. Do you have any idea for a young, healthy male now to have, they're marketing boner pills to teenage boys, to 20-year-old men now. Think about that. There's a big enough market. Yeah, well, maybe it's also because you're not having emotionally fulfilling relationships. Doesn't mean that everyone's gotten it right, but that doesn't mean that we have to make everything acceptable. And everyone knows the only way to truly practice self-love is to treat yourself with a nice cup of joe.
Alice, you missed with the toast. You missed with the eggs.
Be a sport, Herb, and try the coffee.
Coffee? Oh, your coffee's always a real treat.
This is 1775 coffee, just like your mother used to make when she would entertain her male friends. Her great many male friends. For sex.
Alice!
You can't miss with 1775 coffee, unlike you on a golf course.
Alice!
Or like when you thought kissing cousins was a thing.
Alice!
It doesn't force an agenda down your throat, and it doesn't make your kids gay. They're the coffee of freedom. I can say whatever I want, and they're not going to judge me for it. You're going to love it.
That's great.
I knew it.
That's great tasting coffee, Alice.
So it's all right about the toast?
Uh-huh.
And the eggs?
Uh-huh.
And you're gonna mow the grass?
Uh-huh.
Tone down the domestic battery?
Uh-huh.
And kick your lazy freeloading sister out of our house?
Alice! Great tasting coffee, Alice.
1775 coffee, revolting against shitty coffee, supporting freedom of speech and the First Amendment. 1775coffee.com/Crowder. Code Crowder for 10% off. You're gonna love it.
Yeah. It is. It's great coffee. You get the roast date. I love this whole bean pea berry, the dark roast. And I'll warn you, people, if you really like over roasted coffee, like an extra well done butterflied steak, it's not for you. It's what was traditionally a dark roast, so you still get flavor. But I don't even like dark roast coffee, and this is all we drink at home. Great company. All right, CNN. We're going to stay tuned because they're about to discuss the Sarah McBride. Forgive me if I get names wrong today, because a lot of new names I had to learn, and the gender I will get wrong at some point. That's going to happen, and by that I mean right.
You'll get it right. Yeah.
So
just may have to hit the dump button
before we go to Sarah McBride and Nancy Mace and the situation that we're seeing there. I don't know if you know this. Sharia law is enriching the United States, because all cultures are equal. And it's particularly enriching the Pacific Northwest, where an Iraqi parent tried honor killing his daughter. This is Sharia comes to Washington.
According to court records, a 17-year-old victim told investigators her father had been threatening her with an honor killing after she refused to go to another country for an arranged marriage to an older man. She went to her school for help, which then led to the confrontation outside.
Get off! Get off! Get the over! Get the car! Call the cops! Somebody call the cops! He needs to get off of it! That's a dude!
Mohammed look it up. Such a dirty guy, I wanna kill your kids. What the is the important time? My Sharia. My Sharia.
We just felt like we needed to just go straight to it with the shock value. Look.
Unbelievable.
Before I get to some examples here, you start with MAGA, you start with American culture being superior, you start with the United States being the culture that other countries should emulate. You know, the set of beliefs that every country believed since the beginning of time until we were guilted into denying it, guess what? You don't get to the point where there's any encroachment of Sharia or insert whatever other culture here and honor killings. Do you understand? Comment below. That's the reason for it. Saying Make America Great Again, saying America first is saying Americans first, and that includes from threats, foreign and domestic. on CNN. Oh, it's a guy with a phone.
No, don't worry about it.
So,
and by the way, honor killings, if your culture includes killing to restore your honor because your daughter wouldn't go to another country to marry somebody she's never met that's approximately twice her age, that culture shouldn't exist. I'm sorry, that kind of culture should not exist.
Right.
You're going to literally strangle your daughter.
Well, you're forgetting one important thing, Gerald.
What's that?
They don't consider their children to be, people.
Right. Certainly not their daughters.
Certainly not their daughters.
Yeah.
They're beings. They're living objects.
Well, let's not discuss American patriarchal society right now.
So they're Solopoly?
Yes, effectively. And by the way, in case you think, hey, here's a moderate Islamic country, just add, I don't know why I said country.
Country.
A moderate Islamic country right now, just add time.
Yes.
Like you had that with Iran at one point in time. Remember Egypt? Remember we thought Turkey? Oh no, it's taken two. Now, so add time. And you see that with a lot of examples of people out there who are Islamic apologists. Now, this doesn't mean all Muslims in the United States, to be clear. I am talking about wherever Islam actually becomes the basis for a system of law. That is how you judge a culture and a religion, not by individuals who don't have the political power. Now we can look to microcosms here in the States, and this has been increasing. It's alarming. For those of you who don't remember, in Buffalo, I remember this story in 2009. For some reason, I thought it was Toronto. But in Buffalo, there was a founder of a TV network, a Muslim TV network, dedicated to stopping Islamophobia in the West.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, and this was a guy that would bring on shows, and he would discuss Islamophobia, how we have to combat. Well, he honor killed his wife. He murdered his wife.
Whoops. Well, no. That's the part of it they promote.
And we're going to go through some examples. This is the cultural relativism, which is incompatible with MAGA, with American exceptionalism. Dr. Ben Carson said that he didn't believe the Quran and Sharia law, that it could not coexist with the Constitution. And he gave very specific examples. And he was accused of being a self-loathing black at that point.
Right.
So this is where the left trips all over themselves. Kind of like I'm willing to bet that Ben and Jerry hate RFK Jr., where they should be natural bedfellows. Right? That's just their socialism, their totalitarianism has to supersede all of the other isms. And then the cultural relativism, unfortunately, kind of apply. Don't get into the discussion of any Islamic country at all whatsoever on gays, let alone transgender, queer. It's just any culture that is not the United States, we have to elevate. I think that we shouldn't elevate all cultures, to be clear. I think we should conquer them. That's my opinion. So, cultural relativism. Let's just read the definition of this really quickly. All the references available, every show, link in the sidebar. The position that there is no universal standard to measure cultures by, and that all cultures are equally valid and must be understood in their own terms. So what this means is those on the left want to tell you that there's no objective truth as it relates to, analyzing culture. Let me give you some examples here as to why it cannot function in a society. Child marriage is an example.
Yeah.
And we've seen this here in the United States. I know you're shocked. No, it happens here. Usually in bastions of liberalism. So in New York in 1998, Naila Amin was forced into marriage at 15 years old, then taken to Pakistan where she was forced to marry her 28-year-old cousin.
Ah, yes.
New York City, 2024. This is not Islam. It's actually a Jewish cult. Sorry, Sam from HR. 3 Lev Tahor cult members were arrested for smuggling children to be married off to other cult members. Now, you can read that story and people go, well, that's awful. That's terrible. You go, But what about all the countries where that's actually enshrined into law? That's why we have an American culture here. We need to bring American culture back.
Yeah.
Hey, white picket fence, mom and dad and dog in the yard, kids, family, productive members of society. No. We don't marry children. No. We don't allow people to enter here illegally. We build strong communities and we have strong male leaders. Let's go to child marriage, though, as we're looking at most examples globally do take place under Islam or, of course, African warlords. You may say, well, that's just a bastardization. Okay, then how does it always become law? Well, let's go to the Quran, 65:4. As for your women past the age of menstruation, in case you do not know, their waiting period is 3 months, and those who have not menstruated as well, which almost seems like you just opened the floodgates. Like you're like, oh, okay, I guess their first menstrual cycle. Oh, and those who haven't? So that's pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
By Sharia.
That is cool.
Yeah, that is neat.
That's terrible.
Let's go to, hey, all cultures are created equal. Yeah. Unless you want to keep your clitoris, let's go to female genital mutilation. Sorry, this isn't hey, like I've always said, it's a PG-13 plus. You need to know. You need to be informed so that you can protect your kids.
It's the real world.
Yeah.
Genital mutilation in Detroit, 2021. There was a female genital mutilation, an entire network that was exposed.
A network?
An entire network, yeah, not just isolated incidents.
Like the Underground Railroad.
Why would you take pleasure in doing that? That's weird.
Texas, 2021. Well, it's about domination. It's about subjugation.
They're taking pleasure away
of women. Yeah, and by the way, if you want to say misogynist, I share nothing in common with that. Western men tend to like to, they like to run up the score.
Yes.
Yeah. I want to be on the leaderboard. Texas, 2021, Zara Badri was indicted for taking a girl abroad for genital mutilation. And between 1990 and 2017, female genital mutilations in this country tripled. So I know what you're saying. Well, hold on a second. That's just people bastardizing it. Well, why is it practiced in so many Islamic countries? Let's go to Hadith.
Why are people
states Muhammad
taking kids
said,
away for
yeah,
that reason?
Do not cut severely, as that is better for a woman and more desirable for a husband. So just cut moderately.
By Sharia.
I think one of the things you said about other countries, it's 2024 there as well, right? We still doing this stuff and saying it's okay, guys?
This is why when people say, I don't believe in any ideology or isms. Well, you best start, because these people do. And you see this in Europe. You can't fill a void, right? If you take out Christian values, if you take out Western Christendom, that void gets filled by another ism. You can't fight an ism with nothingness. It's not the never-ending story, okay? That's why you see Islam gaining ground. And by the way, of course, what correlates with that is horrible abuse of women and children. And it's not just, to be clear, I don't want to single out Islamists here today. Here's the Santeria cult, let's call it what it is, voodoo animal sacrifices. Those are here stateside right now. Once upon a time, this wouldn't have been permitted because we said, no, not in America. So 2019, Miami, a male porn star was arrested over a van full of animals for an alleged Santeria ritual. Ugh. New York City, 2024, there was a rise in number of butchered animals found around Jamaica Bay, Queens. I lived there for a while. Again, it was believed to be part of voodoo Santeria rituals. And this is the issue. The news then says, I can't believe you're vilifying Haitian migrants for eating ducks, even though we don't have proof, even though there was proof. It's like, well, hold on a second. The point is people are pointing out something that cannot be reconciled with American culture. Whether it's a bunch of Haitians selling dirt cookies in Ohio, or it's people sacrificing domesticated animals in Miami or New York City, or it's female genital mutilation, or it's child brides. There used to be a time in this country, we need to get back to it, you can say I'm a fascist, where even legislatively we go, absolutely not, that's not permitted here. Hey, don't get that far off the beam. Don't get to Solopoly, genital mutilation, whatever it is. Just go, no. In America, this is what we allow. This is what we strive for. It's what makes America America. It's why you wanted to come here. So you don't get to bring your crap.
Yeah. Josh, did you say that girl was choked unconscious before they finally got the guy off?
That's what the Como news report was saying, that she was choked unconscious. I was reading about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the mother was involved too. The mother was actively helping the father, choked this chick out, and then the guy that was punching the guy, the father, that was her boyfriend, the kid's boyfriend. And then the kid's boyfriend's dad was on the news report talking about how the mom was already legally, a restraining order, whatever that is.
Yeah.
She couldn't come on the premises. She wasn't allowed on the premises. So the girl was literally running into school, desperate for someone to listen to her.
Wow.
And to help.
Because she knew she couldn't go back to her community. She couldn't go back to anybody in her family. No. Doesn't matter. Cousin wants to bang her. Dad probably wants to let uncle bang her, whatever. Yeah. No community is open for her. Nope. She goes back, she gets whipped, killed. You're never going to hear about it again because Como doesn't want to talk about it in Seattle.
Well, let's continue browbeating conservative Christian Americans for being patriarchal fascists. Let's just do that and ignore everything that's going on here. The point is there is objective truth. And in the United States, look, I get that varies from country to country, but you do have to have a basis. Here in the United States, it was Judeo-Christian principles where we said, okay, this is what we subscribe. Doesn't mean that you have to be a Christian, but you do have to subscribe to these beliefs for us to have a functioning society. Otherwise, we cannot have limited government, right? It requires a moral people. And I'm sorry, I believe that these other cultures are fundamentally immoral. That's my opinion. You can comment below. Does that make me a racist or ethnocentric? If so, I'm okay with it. Unfortunately, these predators out there plague the rest of the world, and you're protected from it. Places like Africa, the Middle East.
I actually just auditioned for a new Predator.
No kidding.
Yeah, the Predator movie. Yeah, Tim, can you roll it?
Hey, all right.
Hey, I'm Josh.
Of course you are. So you're reading for the role of the Predator in our new sequel, Predator 9.
Yes, I am Predator.
Great. All right, 3, 2... Oh, my God!
By the way, you can keep that jacket. I don't know how my jacket made it to wardrobe, but...
Yeah, no problem.
It's
thank
yours.
You. Yeah, thank you. Fits, kind of.
Yeah. Put it through the steam closet. Hey, let me ask you this out there right now. Are you, where you're living in this country, are you seeing predatory behavior like this? Are you seeing cultural shifts? Are you seeing those in positions of power not doing anything about it? Are you seeing fraud, waste, corruption, abuse? Send us a tip. The Mug Club Undercover team, right? They'll go and they'll check this out. lwctips@protonmail.com. We will protect our sources with our life. We will go to jail to protect our sources. It only gets uncovered if you help uncover it.
They got to go through me in a jacket before they get to our sources.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, they tend to run away when you do that, though.
By the way, when you were a kid, after you saw the first Batman, that scene where the Joker shoots up City Hall, Michael Keaton, right? He's just walking through it.
Yeah.
Did you then ask your dad every time you saw a jacket if it was bulletproof?
No, because I knew that wasn't true.
I thought that bulletproof looked like all other normal clothes. I'm like, Dad, is this bulletproof? And I remember my father, looking back, clearly got tired of him. I was like, Dad, is this bulletproof? He was like, no, that's not bulletproof. Dad, is this bulletproof? And I remember one time we were at the French-Canadian version of Macy's. I go, Dad, is this bulletproof? He goes, yes, that's bulletproof. Then I wanted to buy the jacket.
Of course. Yeah.
So let's go to this. The first trans member of Congress. Okay. This is Miss McBride. Okay. And here's the story. The reason that this is catching fire right now is because Republican Nancy Mace realized that McBride, being a biological male, would be entering women's only spaces. And it's not about McBride specifically. I'm sure McBride, probably a nice person. I would be willing to wager, of course, not a sexual predator.
Nice
okay?
guy.
I get it. But the issue is, we're done opening the floodgates. We're done starting down that slippery slope. Hey, let's just continue with the precedent that we have set throughout human history, which is only women are allowed in spaces that are only for women. And of course, this has been met with a lot of controversy.
Sarah McBride doesn't get a say in this. This is a biological man trying to force himself into women's spaces, and I'm not going to tolerate. You have the radical left that are trying to erase women. I'm not going to allow men to erase women or women's rights. And I'm going to be standing up here. I will file this again next congressional session. Sarah McBride doesn't get a say. This is about women. This is about girls. This is about our rights and being protected in our private spaces. I don't want to see him in a women's restroom. That's not a thing, and it's not going to be a thing up here. It's not going to be a thing anywhere across the country either.
Now, the story that you are going to hear from the left is these are these fake culture wars that are being waged by those on the right. People on the left don't care. Well, hold on a second. You changed all the rules. You changed the rules. People saying, wait. We had those rules for a reason. They're not creating an imaginary culture war. You're the ones trying to fundamentally change culture, not the right, not conservatives saying, no, we're not going to change it. There's no good reason to change it, and there are a lot of reasons to not change it. So let me get to McBride here, the first trans member of Congress, and they're, of course, championing this as a victory. This is a person who is really just tailor-made to be the modern leftist politician. You're talking about identity politics, everything. So this person, McBride, comes from a progressive Presbyterian family. One of three siblings, so three siblings, and the older brother is gay. So one's gay, one's trans. What are the odds? 1 in, I can't even write it on the screen. It's so unlikely. And the parents of McBride actually wrote an article. Her mother wrote an article, or McBride's mother wrote an article. And I'm like, why is this at the NIH about how when my daughter came out, then son, came out as trans, I then realized that there would be a 40% attempted suicide rate unless we gave them everything that they wanted. And that is the basis of the worldview of this person who is now representing you in government.
They didn't read like the other part of that is whether or not they transition.
Right. Right.
You got to read the end of the study.
They're unstable.
So McBride was the student body president at American University. Of course, a lot of what this person was pushing was LGBTQ rights, agendas on campus, establish gender-neutral housing for freshmen.
Whoa, I thought you were going to surprise me and tell me they talked about other things.
Yeah, helped create LGBTQ plus queer studies as a minor.
That's a degree?
That's a degree.
Not a
that
degree.
makes them better and smarter than you.
Yeah.
You can...
I don't know how you grade those papers. Like, hey, do you like dick? Oh, wait, do you like snatch too? Well, I guess they're both good.
What is that?
They're both good. Hey.
Yeah.
What, do you just watch gay porn and study it? I know how it works.
What the hell?
You're different. I don't know. You need a whole year of that?
This is one of the other reasons why Sonny Hostin is wrong, because that person could have voted for Kamala Harris and that's an educated person.
Right.
That's what I was saying. They're better than you. That's a better, smarter person than you.
This is someone with a college degree. Yeah. Ignore the welder who makes $250,000 a year and employs other people with good jobs that actually help service the communities of fellow Americans, because by God, this person was student body president, made sure that you could get a gender studies LGBTQ minor at American University, and now walks the hallowed halls of Congress. And here's the thing too, this is a practice because the left always wants to, they use the word gaslighting so much, and they use it because it's what they do. It's an overused term. But this is really what is going on right now, and expect the left to do this for the next 4 years. They're going to try and lay low, and they're going to blame you for waging culture wars as you try to reverse the corrosive policy. So McBride is a perfect example of this, and I can see why Representative Mace said, no, we're not going to allow this. Let's go to the first claim that you see from McBride, that the culture war is it's a right-wing thing.
Let's be clear. The party that was focused on culture wars, the party that was focused on trans people, was the Republican Party. It was Donald Trump.
Look, this is a weird and bizarre obsession with trans people on the part of the Republican Party. Well, I think the ones that are particularly consumed with fomenting and manufacturing the culture wars, those folks are professional provocateurs parading as public officials. They are not willing to work with any Democrat, and they can barely work with their own Republican colleagues. My job is to represent 50,000 of my neighbors.
I'm not here to talk about my transition.
Too many politicians want to divide us, to tell us that teachers, doctors, even our own neighbors are the enemy.
Now, okay, not going to go along with it. Here's the truth. The left obviously started the culture war. She says they can't even work with their own party when these people have waged this culture war. Well, hold on a second. How can we work with you? How can we reach across the aisle where if you say, to biologically identify males and females is to deny the existence of trans people and to be complicit in genocide? Oh, hold on a second. What? Sounds to me like we can't find common ground. 900 medals from 600 athletes. How many women have to be beaten in female prisons or raped or impregnated? How many children have to be hurt through sports? How many sex offenders do we need to read about, hear about? Not saying all of them. How many children need to transition and go through that serious phase of regret? No. Since the beginning of modern Western civilization, we knew what a man was, we knew what a woman was, and when there were separated categories, be they women-only spaces, women-only sports, it wasn't an argument. It became an argument because you changed the rules and the law when no one was looking. You don't get to accuse people of waging a culture war and say these are unreasonable people. Well, hold on a second. Is Nancy Mace unreasonable because she's now going, whoa, I don't want a guy to take a shit in my Congress, in my bathroom here on Capitol Hill? It's a big change for her. I don't know if you know this. Nancy Mace probably went her entire political career without having a man take a shit.
Not install urinals in my bathroom? Thank you.
Yeah, it's good. But look, we're creating a society where, like Daniel Penny, we're incentivizing people not to help their fellow citizens. I want every single time that this happens, every single time a man goes into a woman's restroom that could have children or any other women in it, I want that to be like, whoa, what's going on here? Not, I'm going to keep my head down because I don't want to be accused of being a bigot. I want the natural reaction. Hey, help. Hey, guys, a man's in the bathroom. Why is this happening?
No, here's what I want it to be. Yes, I agree with you, but I think it should be more matter of fact than that. If you have a biological male who walks into your bathroom, I don't know, you're washing your hands, all I want you to say is, no.
Yes, of course.
Because that was always the answer. No. You ever accidentally go into the women's room and someone goes, oh, wait, this is the women's room. You go, I'm sorry. They go, oh, that's okay. I made the mistake too. Right? That's always been the response. We have all had to fundamentally recondition our response. It shouldn't even be, why is this happening? Because that opens the door to them go, well, are you dead naming me? Just say, no. And if someone has a problem with it, someone in charge, let them explain to you why it's a problem for you to say no, and then accuse them of waging a culture war. Here's an excerpt from the 2004 document titled Peeing in Peace from the Transgender Law Center. And of course, you're the one waging a culture war. Men's and women's bathrooms encourage people to use stereotypes about who a, quote, they actually have quotations here, about who a man is and who a, in quotes, woman is in deciding if they are in the right bathroom. Because of this, many people have stereotypical expectations about who will be sharing the bathroom with them. Hold on a second. As far as the stereotypes, it used to be so unilaterally agreed upon in society that it just required a sign. And the only difference was one shape.
A triangle, yeah.
And everyone knew what it meant. We didn't have to have a debate about it. Oh, that's right, we're waging the culture war. Oh, okay. What were those signs for, and why did no one have a problem with them until about 2014? 2016, the DOJ under Barack Obama, right? They issued these Title IX directives forcing public schools to let trans students use the bathroom of their choice. And if parents ended up protesting that, as we saw later on, many of them were escorted by police from PTA meetings. But you're waging the culture war. Let's go through another claim here that we see from McBride. A real victory for the trans community.
Former name, McHusband.
Yes. Yes.
McGroom.
You know how like you get chicken nuggets and you're like, are these real nuggets? No, they're McNuggets.
Yes.
Is this a real bride? Nah, it's a McBride.
Also nicknamed McNuggets. So both, they all function here. Well, non-functioning.
Oh, it's also known as Big Mac. But
yes.
Chipolado fish.
So here this person is saying, hey, hold on, so, you're waging the culture war. I can't believe you waged the no one cares about this. But before Donald Trump won the election, she was constantly parroting the points that Donald Trump has targeted LGBTQ rights, voting rights, workers' rights, abortion rights. He is targeting women and LGBTQ plus. But of course, she isn't waging a culture war.
We know who Donald Trump is. He is the same person who for 4 years targeted LGBTQ rights, voting rights, workers' rights, abortion rights, every step of the way. We don't have to look any further than their Project 2025 agenda. We don't have to look any further than what MAGA extremists are doing in state legislatures across the country.
Okay, here's the truth. Little culture warrior. It's a hard word to say. Culture warrior. I don't care. Donald Trump, President Trump, literally did none of those things. He was the first president to ever enter into office being okay with gay marriage. You may not know that. When they say infringing on voters' rights, so that's infringing on trans rights, saying, oh, yeah, okay, gay marriage, sure, but no, biological boys can't compete with girls in sports, and we shouldn't transition minors. That's attacking LGBT. Why are you waging a war? Hold on a second. I have the opinion that the vast majority of Americans have, and the entire medical community did until they were co-opted. Right? On attacking voters' rights, voter ID, proving that you're a legal voter. This is how the left frames attacking rights, and if you push back, you're waging a fake culture war. Right? Think about this for a second. Move the abortion rights to the states. All the shrieking has been over the fact that you can still, I believe, in 10 or 14 states, get abortion up until birth without any type of exemption needed, any type of reason. And some states have like a heartbeat bill. He did none of the things that this person just mentioned, and they'll accuse you, gaslight you. Why are you fighting a culture war? Here's another claim that is being made by McBride. And this one is really tough because they make this claim, and this is the value, I would say, and comment below if you agree with this. I think the value in a diverse coalition, particularly with someone like RFK, like there's a lot on which I disagree with RFK, but I think he could do a lot of good with the HHS. If their position is limited in scope to the one area where we can find some common ground, that's an appropriate place to appoint somebody. And what's weird is that RFK Jr. is really kind of parroting a lot of points that people on the left at one point agreed with. He's almost stolen it from the left, where now they have to be on the side of big pharma, and they are twisting their fake dicks into knots trying to make sense of it.
We all know that RFK Jr. peddles in conspiracy theories, but beyond all of that, he's simply unqualified to manage a department with a $1.6 trillion budget. What RFK represents are dangerous conspiracy theories that could
You're a conspiracy
lay the
theory.
foundation not just for individual Americans to get sick or ill, but could lay the foundation for another pandemic here in this country and globally.
Huh?
Dangerous conspiracy theories. What? Blake Josh, you are a walking conspiracy theory. You're a walking Pelican Brief. Similar cover as Conspiracy Theory. Different film from the 90s.
Similar looking penis, too.
Here's the truth. Okay, so you're looking at qualifications, and you're saying he's unqualified. Well, again, context matters. In comparison to someone like Assistant Secretary Rachel Levine?
Hey, that's Admiral to you.
Yes, right.
Oh, rear.
That's a made-up rank to you,
not
buddy.
Going to take that in rear admiral.
And let's look at RFK Jr.'s extreme positions, crazy conspiracies. I don't know if you notice, he's not broadly anti-vaccination.
No.
He has every vaccination except the COVID mRNA injection, which is dissimilar to any other vaccine. As a matter of fact, it shouldn't even really be called a vaccine. That can be argued. But his most extreme positions, let's look at those extreme positions. RFK Jr. doesn't want to transition children, like Rachel Levine. He does believe that we should, for example, have double-blind trials for vaccines, like the hepatitis vaccine that we give to infants. Don't know if you know this, hasn't really gone through the same robust trials as basic medications that you take. The most extreme position that he takes is that he would like to remove fluoride from drinking water and reserve it to municipalities to make the decision for themselves, as they do across a lot of Eastern Europe and the rest of the world, including parts of Asia. So he would be in line with a lot of other countries who are even more liberal than the United States. He wants to, for example, very extremely limit or ban food dyes, which again would be in line with the rest of the world. We have, I believe, over 9,000 chemicals that are allowed in food in the United States that are not allowed in chemicals across the globe. Let's compare that with Rachel Levine, again, Assistant HHS Secretary, the extreme positions. Transitioning children, I'd say that's worse. Putting equity front and center of HHS priorities, not equality of care, but equity, guaranteeing outcomes, and extending Pride Month to the entire summer.
What?
Oh, fuck off.
Why? What?
Summer. Okay, you're already trying to with Pride Month.
Jesus, there's enough bicycle dicks flying around my kids' faces in the summertime. Like, Jesus Christ.
After the Z's of summer have gone. What?
Okay, well,
Bryan Adams or Ataris? Which one? I don't know. It's just LGBTQ. There's no boys of summer anymore. The queers are back in town.
It'll be Pride until the sun sets before 7.
Yes. Joel Schumacher is going to remake The Lost Z's.
Okay.
Let me ask you this. We just compared all references are always available, even though we have been rated as lowest as far as information from a leftist news organization. We'll get to that in a second. Only place that provides references publicly. You can check them. But I also ask you to conduct.
I'm sorry.
What?
I'm just thinking of different names for the summer solstice.
All right.
Oh, geez.
We'll talk.
Okay, we'll talk. We'll do a Reddish breakout. But I'm also going to ask you to conduct the basic eyeball test here. Okay. Who do you want to be in charge of health?
We can do this.
I mean, it is a tight race. And I want to say we should go off of voice too.
Yeah.
But RFK's still winning that one.
Yeah, I know he is.
It's true.
There's nowhere he doesn't. It's like the tortoise and the hare. Only RFK is the hare, and in this scenario, the tortoise is the one who falls asleep and stays asleep. That's
Either way,
yeah. So
either way, they both have hair on their face.
Yes.
So
slow and retarded does not win the race.
I mean, sometimes it does.
Sometimes it does.
No.
I don't watch enough of the Special Olympics.
I just watched it. It was pretty fun.
Okay. I don't know how
those kids are pumped, dude.
Yeah, I do know that's fun. The Paralympics, I don't understand because I don't know how they pick the event.
Yeah.
Like, you're missing 2 legs basketball. But I wanted to do shot put. No, that's for people with one arm.
We've got a wheelchair department. You go over there.
Yeah, you go. But I don't like basketball.
It
doesn't matter. Yeah. Look, we can't have sports for all disabilities, okay? We had to prune this. Try your hand at dressage. So, McBride, first trans member of Congress. And of course, they're going to vilify Mace. What you need to watch out for is, again, throughout these next 4 years, they're going to gaslight you. They're going to try and continue flying these new rules under the radar, these fundamental changes to the building blocks of Western society. And when you push back, they'll blame you of waging a fake culture war. Don't take your foot off the gas, because they won't. They'll try and present as though they're more moderate. They're going to keep this going. I promise you.
You know, this fake culture war just got a lot faker. Fun fact. Congress people have bathrooms in their office. So the only reason that McBride would need to take a dump in a public restroom is to virtue signal, or maybe, spicy Mexican got the best of it.
Yeah.
Well. I'm just saying, this isn't a battle that needs to be fought at all. Mace is right. It shouldn't happen. And McBride should be like, I got my own restroom. I'm fine.
Unless Mace was concerned because McBride already went into Mace's private bathroom to take a dump like a power move.
True.
We should go back to pooping outside, I say.
Oh, there you go. Bury it in a pit.
You're not going to wage a culture war, are you?
Look at me in the eyes.
Yeah, you should. You should have to poop outside in front of all your friends.
It's a power move.
Co-workers, like I did in the Army. Tell you what, it makes it harder to poop.
I can imagine.
They do this.
You might not want to do it anymore.
I can imagine.
Stop cheering, guys. Come on.
They do that. They will do that because they're dicks. Come on, Firestine, you can do it. Let's see some brown.
Push him out. Shove him out. Way out.
And I also understand it. There's every single guy has been through the phase where, like, you're a 3-year-old and you learn that you can pee on a tree outside. It's one of your unique abilities, and then you start peeing outside when you don't have to.
That's the thing too. If you're a trans woman, you went from man to woman. Why would you want to give up the best way of peeing possible?
I know.
You have pull it up, pull it and pee at the urinal. Yeah, you might get a weird look, but I'm not going to say anything. Surely, I don't want this conversation.
That. They get the best of both worlds. They don't have to go over the. They don't have to go over the fence at all.
No, you were just talking the other day about how you don't go through the fly. You have to do the buttons because you're meticulous about it, and I guess you have a huge hog. But I like to go through the fly. And sometimes
you're
it's
paraphrasing.
No,
they make a lot of. The truth is, the best male underwear doesn't have the gate. It's like a full pouch.
Yeah, I got it.
But I didn't even think about it. You could just. It's like having a doggy door or a moat under the gate. You just lift the skirt and
lift
go.
that
It's
thing
ideal.
and go. Do
It's
Braveheart
ideal.
style. That's what I say.
It's ideal. Isn't that enough? Take the win, McBride. Also, McBride, you are a gross disappointment, but you may partially redeem yourself by making a purchase at crowdershop.com. You can get the Trump 145-47 shirt, of course, the Fight Like Hell shirts, and, I don't know if it would be enough of a penance, but you'd be on your way.
You could try. Crowdershop.com.
Can we just rethink bathrooms, though? I mean, this issue is getting annoying. I have my own opinion. I share the opinion of you guys, but I'm getting annoyed at this conversation. I saw these bathrooms at the airport in Seattle. I know, progressive as hell, but it was like it was like a cage match of pooping. Like every stall was floor to the top, and then there's no spaces. The latch. It's like you go. Everyone goes in the same bathroom, and then the wash area is in a different room. Why can't we be doing that? Why can't we like an individual toilet?
I would like to have that anyway. I don't.
That's
like,
what I'm saying too. I don't want a guy next to me. There's like open space. I got to smell his crap.
Yeah. I don't know when that became a thing where it's like the half door. Why did that become in public stalls for men? Where someone's just like, all right, because then everyone followed it. It set a precedent. Everyone followed it. Like, all right, do we want to make some privacy here? Nah, give it just like half a pony wall. Well, and look, people don't care. They want a little privacy, but they just want privacy from like the kneecap up and the shoulder down. Like, what am I going over a waterfall in a barrel?
One of my worst fears is taking a poop and a tall guy walks in next to me.
That's me. Yeah. So
Gerald walks in. He's got those 4 eyes. He can magnify that vision. Get in there.
It doesn't help that he brings a periscope.
I know. Ahoy, matey! I say, get out of here, Gerald.
You should see Gerald when he goes to the bathroom. Mirrored shoes, a periscope. He's dressed like Ziggy Stardust. It's all reflective.
I see a lot of this. There are 2 things. I see the tops of refrigerators. They're always dirty, and I accidentally see other men pooping in my life. The price of being tall.
Oh, sorry. Well, can you stop looking? Nah, I've already started.
I can't.
Hey, buddy.
I was in the Phoenix airport this weekend.
Smells like you're making progress.
I had to go so badly to go in. It's a tiny little spot. I got my suitcase. I'm barely getting in, and then this guy comes in and starts cursing next to me. He's like, God dang it. Oh, shit, you gotta be kidding me, man. And he was just going on. I was like, that's exactly what it was, except for he was not that. He was just a black guy.
He was mad at you.
He was just mad about everything, man. He was just so upset. And I was like, please hurry and poop, dude.
Yeah, one of the worst things I ever did was in high school, and you never go number 2 in high school as a man.
No,
you never do. Because, I mean, those doors were, you're talking about this much space between between the door and the ground.
You could fit a hand between the door and the lock.
And a guy went in, and we knew that he always went in if he had to go in this one bathroom, this one section of high school. And so what we did was just like a hand grenade.
Yes.
We lopped off the top to an axe can and rolled it in. And we heard him start jumping.
You gas him?
He tries to get off the door. The door busts open and he throws up.
Yeah, he's paralyzed too. But yeah.
He's like, we didn't know it'd be that bad. Like, it's actually toxic. It was we could have killed him.
He's got a third arm, but he's fine.
He's trying to get a claim from burn pits because of you, dude.
Boys are ruthless in school, man, when it comes to this stuff. You're right. We should have floor-to-ceiling protection.
We felt really bad.
Yes,
we just thought it'd be like he would cough a little bit. We
hilarious.
We didn't realize he was going to try and escape.
Didn't mean to violate the Geneva Convention.
No, we did not. Gotcha, bitch. All right. I know we've gone over, but we really need to talk about this. This is an important subject. A lot of people, out there, I think we've covered that. McBride quite thoroughly.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Miss Mace, always welcome. So, some cabinet positions right now, people are talking about them quite a bit, and some don't get the attention that they need. And if we continue this because we've gone late, you can join Rumble Premium, $99 annual, $9.99 a month, where you get this ad-free, you get the extended show, and it's the way to fight back against the left. Hey, are you tired of big tech? One place, a one-stop shop, and eventually, hopefully, tip jars, all of that will be more and more a thing of the past because people have subscription fatigue, and I get it. So, talking about these cabinet positions, some you probably obviously have seen discussed quite a bit, including on the show, Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, Attorney General, all those. But there are a lot of them that are just as important, and people don't really discuss them. They fly under the radar. So this brings us to, on Sunday, Donald Trump announced that he had selected Brendan Carr to serve as his FCC director. He put this on Truth Social. He said, I am pleased to announce that Commissioner Brendan Carr will be the chairman of the Federal Communications Commission, FCC. Commissioner Carr is a warrior for free speech. He is. Everyone says it. Great warrior, fantastic warrior. And he has fought against the regulatory lawfare that has stifled Americans' freedom and held back our economy. He will end regulatory onslaught that has been crippling America's job creators and innovators and ensure that the FCC delivers for rural America. That's a mouthful, but he's actually right on all of it if you look at the views of Mr. Carr. So that would seem like something we could all be on board with. Why is the left losing their mind, including Brian Stelter, who's back at CNN but broadcasting from his man cave?
Return of the fact he's gay. Was sacked, now he's back. He ain't straight. Return of the fact. Oh my God. Return of the slack.
Sorry, Brian Stelter has 2 man caves. Here's the other one.
This is not a household name like RFK, but it's an important pick for an important agency. Donald Trump has threatened the licenses of basically all the major television networks in the United States. Will he push his FCC chairman to follow through on those threats? Time will tell.